Hello and welcome. This is probably going to be the most boring video I've ever done, only because we're going over the results and actually how to write a report. So get right into it. Now, normally you'll have your business here that you're testing on, and then it's going to report. So then we'll go have the table of contents. You have to have the confidentiality statement so to make sure both parties understand the NDA, and then a disclaimer about the findings. Contact information. This will go over more with numbers or the white team, if there is one, if you're a red team engagement or in general. Security, any stakeholder that's part of the project, they'll be all here. And then the assessment overview, I usually keep it the same. There's a timeline that we have between Hackney and I. I just did it for today and tomorrow. And then I leave this alone because we're this is a pretty good example of what we're going to be doing. We're testing for admin accounts, training extensive data, compromised domain, movement, etc. And then here's our scorecard. And then this is pretty much the same, like with likelihood, what the impact is. This is going to be more towards the end of the technical side. But this is the most important part to a scope. What you are testing, what is considered out of scope. You'll get a meeting on what's in scope, what's not before testing, and then it's better just to regurgitate what's after, so that way both parties understand we didn't do this for this testing. Now, at some point, testing could happen with this or this at some, but in this case, in trying to have these rules, I just did out of scope. And then client allowance, what we're testing on, specifically the website, and then privilege escalation, because the whole box is being compromised. Can we compromise the box, basically? And then a summary of what we did, timeline of what we did too, and then what we were doing during some summary. But in this part, you don't want to be technical here. You want to be business approach. You want to be making sure that people that read this, like a CEO or CFO or CTO or anybody else that's on the board or stakeholder that is not technical, you want them to understand that this could be the impact of what your finding is. This is what is going to be read the most. And then the weaknesses here on strengths. So we found that as a strength, but not always. That was good to have here. We want to put more strengths when we find them. We also found the weaknesses, so that way, like, it's not just about in testing. We're testing. We're not really. We're not here just to hack a system just to save for it. We're testing for different ways of getting in if breach is possible. And so if one came back saying, "Hey, password policy is protected on it. You guys are doing good on password policy. This would go here." That and then this is what you're gonna write as in for the vulnerability summary and report card of each individual finding that we found. There's three in this case. We can technically take path traversal or directory traversal as a high level because we were able to find the panel open on the website. So the panel and uploads, that's technically directory traversal using GoBuster. That does count. And you want to put that in a real life engagement. On the OSCP, it's more lenient. They want you to show everything that you did in one go, but in the real world engagement, this is how it's going to be written. Will make sense here in a second. So then this is where you can be technical as much as possible, but in likelihood and impact, you want to keep this business savvy as well. When you get the evidence, you can be totally 100% technical as much as possible. So this is what found. That's because this here is the panel and then uploads. It's what we found on the URL. So technically that is directory traversal. Next is file upload. And this is the actual attack that we did. And then this is evidence that we did. Two to get there. Now for the OSCP though, they'll probably want this to combine together on how you got to root. So the first part of this is this is what I got, and here you're going to show every single step of it versus this part, but real world, this is what's going to be it. And then yeah, last one, our evidence here, same thing, but this is all going to be tied together in one part of the report of each server in the OSCP. But in the actual engagement here, if we're looking at real world, this is what I would send to a client. So then, yeah, then we have recommendation. So this is pretty much it. I know it's boring, but if you do this with practice, you can use these as a mock report as your portfolio. I would, and I'm going to. Even if it took me like what an hour, I would still want to do this so I get practice enough of not just did we hack a box to do it. It's about how can we also make it more secure. And that's kind of the idea of a pen tester. So the more you do this, the more you get better at pen testing as well, because this is what's going to be requested, not just doing the work. This is also showing improving the work. So, all right, that's pretty much it for this one. Thank you for bear witnessing this boring one, but I know I like how this one turned out. So, thank you for watching. Good luck out there.